While 4xtra was cycling in and out of the California prison system, the relationship between the Rolling 40s and the Rolling 60s neighborhood Crips remained strong. Both sets claimed massive territories in South Los Angeles. At this time, the Neighborhood Crips Alliance prided themselves on unity, and issues between different neighborhood Crip sets were usually far and few in between. But in the summer of 2013, that unity would be broken, and 4xtra would unfortunately be caught right in the middle of the war, bringing his short run outside of the California prison system to an end once again. During the early morning hours of August the 4th, at a gathering that included a whole host of neighborhood Crip sets, a fight would break out into the street. Rolling 40s member Edwin Van Joshua, aka Tiny Crip Crazy, who was driving south on Southwestern Avenue, saw the brawl, stopped his vehicle, and joined the fight. The fight would escalate into shots being fired at 5:07 AM, and Tiny Crazy was hit. Tragically, he wouldn't make it. The rumored shooter was a member of the Rolling 60s Crips, and in response, the 40s called for blood. Just a day after the death of Tiny Crazy, members of the 40s allegedly pulled up to 10th Avenue and 60th Street, a location known as a hangout for the Rolling 60s Crips. Multiple shots would be fired, but no one was hit. But a tweet made later that same day from an alleged 60s member would make fun of the incident, calling the shots fired all airballs. But the day after that, on August the 6th, the 40s call for blood would be answered. 54-year-old Mitchell Graves was walking along the sidewalk that evening, deep in the Rolling 60s territory, when a suspect approached Graves on foot, shooting him multiple times, then fleeing to a light-coloured vehicle parked on the corner of West 62nd and Madden. The Rolling 40s were believed to be behind the shooting of a seemingly innocent man. However, it would be the next deaths that followed shortly after that police would formally link to the gang war. On August the 27th, 2013, near Hyde Park in South Los Angeles, two young men, one known as Baby Crafty, real name Antonio Lee Riley, and another known as Shady Huck, real name Trayvon Jackson, were standing outside of an apartment in Rolling 60s territory when a vehicle pulled up. At least one shooter opened fire, unleashing 2 shots, followed by 20 more in an apparent effort to leave no survivors. A witness emerging from a neighborhood apartment saw people fleeing and heard a man screaming, saying they shot my nephew and my brother. When the gunfire ceased, Baby Crafty and Shady Huck, alleged members of the Rolling 60s, would lay dead, while a third victim was critically injured. These murders sent shockwaves through the neighborhood, and the families of the victims were devastated. Shady Huck's cousin would post a heartbreaking online tribute, expressing loss and questioning why his life was cut so short. Baby Crafty's father described his son as just a baby who wasn't a troublemaker and had simply been visiting a friend. Police immediately launched a manhunt for the shooters. The violence was widely rumored to have been retaliation for the murder of Rolling 40s member Tiny Crip Crazy just weeks earlier, and within a month, a suspect was in custody. According to arrest reports posted on the Cali Banging subreddit, 4xtra was actually arrested and charged with double murder in the cases of Baby Crafty and Shady Huck, plus 2 additional counts of attempted murder. The other suspect was tracked down and arrested in Weehawken, New Jersey in December 2013 and extradited to California. At just 25 years old, 4xtra was facing life in prison without parole in a high-profile case that was garnering significant media attention all across Los Angeles. The police believe the murder wasn't indeed a gang retaliation. Some Redditors alleged that right after the murders, 4xtra and his older homies had actually posted a picture on Facebook that had since been deleted. But reportedly, it was this photo that had played a major role in 4xtra being hit with these murder charges, despite speculation that he was not actually the triggerman in the incident. Reddit commenters familiar with the issue would explain how 4xtra was apparently one of the youngest members around at the time, and that it was older members of the crew that had posted a picture that made everybody in that group wanted men. For over a year, 4xtra would fight the charges from county jail, but after more than a year of legal wrangling, 4xtra would walk out of court a free man, with all 4 charges that could have ended his life and taken away his freedom for good being dismissed. After his release, 4xtra managed to stay out of trouble for at least a small period of time. He described getting out of jail a changed man and coming back smarter and more educated.
Okay, so you're reaching the end of that prison term. How do you feel about returning to the streets? Like, where's your mentality at?
I'll return back to the streets, and I'll return back to the streets smart and educated. And when I got out, I stayed out for a cool minute. I sat out for some years.
But it wouldn't be long until violence circled back to 4xtra once again, as another brush with death would come when he was allegedly ambushed by Foboy, a fellow Rolling 40s member and alleged affiliate of Draco the Ruler's Stink Team. According to court documents, 4xtra and Foboy had gotten into an argument that escalated when 4xtra had allegedly threatened Foboy's life. Foboy didn't take this threat lightly, and instead of letting it slide, he allegedly drove to 4xtra's house and found him there sitting in his car and opened fire. 3 40 caliber rounds tore through 4xtra's vehicle as he tried to escape, the impact so violent that he lost control and crashed into a telephone pole. When police arrived, they found shell casings scattered across the pavement and 4xtra bleeding out. Fortunately, he would survive the shots after being rushed to hospital by ambulance, but true to the street code that had defined him since childhood, he refused to identify the person that had just tried to end his life. Nonetheless, however, that ultimately wouldn't change things, and Foboy was later arrested and charged with the shooting of 4xtra, along with 2 other shootings, 1 a road rage shooting where no one was hit, and 2 the shooting of another Rolling 40s member named Victor Miller, who was allegedly stealing money from him. Now, interestingly, Foboy was actually charged alongside Daryl Caldwell, aka Draco the Ruler himself, his brother Ralphie the Plug, and Shells from Roland Hunnitz for the attempted murder of Victor Miller. However, just like 4xtra's charges, the case against Foboy and his friends was later dismissed too. Foboy was also acquitted for shooting 4xtra, but a jury did convict him of shooting an occupied motor vehicle in the road rage incident, which led to him being sentenced to 7 years in state prison. But once again, narrowly escaping a brush with death, 4xtra's problems were still far from over. If anything, they were just beginning. Shortly after surviving the 2016 attempt on his life from a fellow Roland 40, 4xtra would be back behind bars, facing life in prison again. He would later claim that the justice system was unjust, telling No Jumper that he was being painted as guilty by association.
Did all the way to now.
What you get caught up for that time?
Oh man, some shit I didn't do. And they bang me, they wash me up. They see me up the road, they wash me up.
How'd they convict you if you didn't do it?
Yeah, that's the point. You know what I'm talking about? The system is up nowadays. They convict a lot of people on the yard that didn't do nothing.
Really?
You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of people on the yard that didn't do nothing. Hell yes, a lot of innocent people up there. But to the system, you know, to them, you guilty. You know what I'm saying? You guilty by association. Let's go back to what we talking about earlier. Who you hang with is who you are.
This arrest stemmed from an August 2016 incident where police responded to shots fired near West Pico Boulevard and South Orange Drive. Residents reported 6 gunshots. Though the scene appeared empty initially, officers would find shell casings. Nearby residents heard about 6 shots, but officers arrived to an empty scene. After a short search, they discovered those shell casings. 5 miles away, Jeremiah Spotty Face Shaw was discovered fatally wounded in a silver Chrysler in Leimert Park, believed to have been shot in mid-city, with it believed whoever was with him had abandoned him in the vehicle. Jeremiah Shaw, aka Spotty Face, was an alleged fellow member of the Roland 40's Crips. The killing allegedly ignited demands for retaliation within the gang, and authorities arrested 4xtra in relation to the getback. By September 25th, 2016, 4xtra was facing 4 counts of attempted murder, shooting at a dwelling or vehicle, and 4 counts of assault with a firearm, though 2 attempted murder charges were later dismissed, and he was acquitted of most counts by June 2017. However, he would still be found guilty of possession of a firearm, possession of ammunition, evading the police, and participating in criminal gang activity. The convictions triggered California's 3 strikes law, ultimately landing him another life sentence in prison. He would enter the system with a hardened mindset, knowing that he was facing decades behind bars.
So how was your second time in there different than the first one in terms of like, did you able to be more positive?
No, because this time I came in with life.
Right. Oh, so you got life then?
Yeah, I came in with life this time.
Holy shit.
So I got washed up. I came in with life this time, and it was a different mind state. You know, I'm talking about I'm gonna be here for a minute.
But upon receiving the life sentence, 4xtra put in an appeal whilst in the county jail, but he would lose the case 5 years into his sentence.
For no reason. So I went down for a high pro case. You know, I was in that for like 4-5 years fighting it. So then, you know, I ended up losing.
He would then be transferred between counties for additional cases, losing each one, and processed at the Wasco State Prison, where he accepted his long-term fate.
Wasco reception and when I shot the Wasco reception, I was already washed up. You know what I'm talking about? I put my appeal in already in the county before I shook off. But you already know, so my mind was already set. I'm gonna be here for a while.
But being behind bars didn't save him from violence. If anything, it just intensified it. After 5 months at Wasco, he allegedly stabbed an inmate for, in his words, being no good, earning him yet another attempted murder charge.
24 months up inside the shoe for attempted murder and shit. Popping on the yard, you know how that shit go.
Right, that part.
I told that motherfucker up though, but you know, I was up in that motherfucker years and 6 months.
This violation sent him to Pelican Bay, California's most feared prison, which 4xtra himself would later describe as the most destructive of all of the prisons that he was ever locked up in.
Well, yeah, I was in Pelican Bay. You know, that's the last yard, you know what I'm talking about? That's the last prison. That's the most destructive prison. You get what I'm saying? That's on the hill. That's the last prison. That's the prison out of all of them. Pelican Bay.
During his time here, he was placed in solitary confinement, aka the SHU, where he spent 24 months in isolation.
Oh, boom. They hit me for attempted murder, and they see me to Pelican Bay. I went to C7. I landed in C7 over there in the SHU in Pelican Bay. They gave me 24 months in the SHU.
Now the SHU was a nightmare, designed to break even the strongest minds, with a 23-hour lockdown on the 180 level 4 yard. Here, inmates were only granted 1 hour outside of their cells, and sometimes not even that if staff were missing, meaning that they would be locked down for entire days at a time.
I was at Pelican Bay.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
I was at Pelican Bay. Pelican Bay.
How many years did you do?
I was up there. I was on Pelican Bay yard for 8 years and 6 months.
How come they don't have a lot of people in the yard when you guys come inside out?
Oh, well, you know, that the 23-hour lockdown, that lockdown, they gonna lock it down all day, you know.
In the SHU, 4xtra had to adapt to the possibility of instant violence without any warning.
It's off the back violence. No way around it, violence.
Right.
He described waking up at 2 in the morning, ready to get it cracking.
I wake up 2 in the morning, roll my mat up, brush my teeth, put my shit on my rack, you know what I'm saying? Get ready to work out. I work out from 2 to 6, bird bath real quick in the toilet, you know what I'm talking about? By 7, they cracking my door. I'm laced up, ready to come out.
So you were on some militant shit.
You gotta be militant. You gonna be militant.
And it was during this stretch that his reputation would reach legendary proportions, as 4xtra would have to fight repeatedly to survive, ultimately building up an impeccable fight record that would become legendary both behind the prison walls and in the streets of Los Angeles.